Well. Good morning.
Good morning.
A few minutes ago, when my good friend Mark Novak was commenting upon great parts of the program today, I thought he was going to refer to the budget section, so I was disappointed when he did not do that. I have become somewhat famous or infamous for including jokes in the pension letter that I write. Several people have commented to me that they were disappointed that I didn't have any jokes yesterday. So I'm going to, if I have the moderator's permission, we're going to take a vote now. Anybody who would like me to tell a couple jokes next, because I have extra time. They don't know it, but my presentation is shorter. We have a clock down here. So if you would like me to tell a couple of jokes, raise your hand. All right. And if you would prefer that, including my wife Jill, if you would prefer that I don't tell any jokes, raise your hand. Okay, I'll cut the list in half. I had 6 of them, and I won't use them all. Okay. Budgets are serious stuff, but I thought we could make a little bit lighthearted nature to the presentation. So these are just some thought questions for you to think about before we get into the budget. First question, why is abbreviated such a long word? It's funnier than that. The next one should be better. Why is lemon juice made with artificial flavoring and dishwater liquid made with real lemons? Well, since I'm on a roll, I would do all 6 of these. Okay. This was germane to my presentation yesterday, but I didn't use it then. Okay. Why is the person who invests all your money called a broker? Think about that one. Okay. Why is the time of day with the slowest traffic called the rush hour? You probably heard that one before. Why are they called apartments when they are all stuck together? That's worth thinking about. This one, since I'm very allergic to insect bites, I wish the answer were different. The question is, why didn't Noah swat those 2 mosquitoes? All right, that's the end of the humor. All right. I'm here today to present the 2015 mission and ministry budget for the Evangelical Covenant Church. As you can see from the slide here, the Covenant Office's leadership team, the Covenant Finance Committee, and Covenant Executive Board all unanimously recommend the adoption of the 2015 mission and ministry budget, which is found in your delegate notebook under agenda item number 21. And just for your information, we have to do our planning well in advance. The budget you're approving actually runs for our fiscal year, which will start February 1st, 2015, and end January 31st, 2016. We have a very extensive budget process that we use. And let me begin by reviewing with you all the key steps in the development of this budget, which we're presenting today here for your approval. The budget process is led by our President, Gary Walter. All Covenant Offices leadership team members are involved in the development of this budget, including its revenue and expense assumptions. It is then presented sequentially to the following groups for their approval: the Covenant Offices leadership team, the Finance Committee of the Executive Board, and subsequently the Covenant Executive Board. While the process and principles in the development of the budget remain similar to those of recent years, there is one significant departure which I will describe next in terms of the following two slides. In the past, excuse me, the expense budget was presented in a departmental fashion. This year, we are moving to the new format with expenses under the 5 mission priorities, which you have seen described throughout our meeting today. So, in the past, the budgets were organized into the following categories by department: church growth and evangelism, Christian formation, women ministries, compassion, mercy, and justice, ordered ministry, and world mission. Now we are going to present it today, and in the material you'll find in your book under agenda item 21, it's organized as follows under these mission priorities: to start and strengthen churches, to make and deepen disciples, to love mercy and do justice, to develop leaders, and to serve globally. In the attachment number 21 in your book, and I'll hold up a copy of it here momentarily, you should turn now to pages A1 to A3. And they look like this here. And what we have done is, for your benefit, we have taken the principal things that we do under each of the mission priorities and describe them. So on page agenda item number 21A1, you see the list of principal things we do under on the first page: serve globally and start and strengthen churches. On the next page, it includes make and deepen disciples, love mercy and do justice, and develop leaders. And then on the third page, A3, it includes 2 of the support functions that we have: communication and shared services. The mission and ministry budget consists of 2 components: our operating budget and our directed project activities. The directed project activities differ from the base budget, as we only spend project activity funds for those specific priorities as the funds become available. The next slide will describe this, and you should now be looking at page B in agenda item 21. And these are the specific directed project activities that fold into the 2015 mission and ministry budget. So if you'll follow along, both on the material you have, page B, and it will appear in wonderful color on these slides. So if you see across the top, the 4 major areas are serve globally, start and strengthen churches, make and deepen disciples, and develop leaders. And so if you take a look at the first column, these are the dollar amounts under these categories. The first one is Covenant Kids Congo, followed by short-term and project missionaries, missionary in country projects, World Relief, Paul Carlson Partnership, Friends of World Mission, Kingdom Builders. No, I'm sorry, not Kingdom Builders, but the total of that is $7,080,000. The second category relates to start and strengthen churches. There's one item there, and that is for Kingdom Builders, and that sums up to the $150,000. The third one, Make and Deepen Discipleships, has one category there, Women Ministries, and it adds up to $65,000. And then under Develop Leaders, there are two categories, Sustaining Pastoral Excellence and Covenant Orientation, and that adds to up to $545,000. And then if we sum across the bottom total, we will see that in the planned 2015 budget, the total amount of directed project expenses will be $7,640,000. Now I would ask you to turn to page C in this material, but first I have to provide a little bit of a technological discussion that probably is beyond my own capability. Around my house, I am known as a technological Luddite. There may be a few people in the room of the same age as I am that fit into that category. But I was going to really impress you today with my technological skills. And so with the assistance of my wife, Jill, we invested $8 in this instrument here. And this is known as a laser pointer. And when I push the button, you can see that red stuff all around the room? And so when I was going to put up the next slide, I was going to use this laser printer to describe each of the cells in the slide. However, when I arrived here yesterday, I noted something that is different from most years. And you might guess what it might be. See where I am standing? And see where the slides are. Now, unless I'm going to jump up and down, we got a problem. I was thinking last night, I could do a good job for those that are up on the stage because I can just point right, we have television screens here, so we can see what's going on. But the technology today is not good enough to take it from these screens here to up there. So I will do the best I can, and this whole $8 has kind of been a waste of money. But anyway, moving right along, I'm going to try this. This is very complicated, but I think we'll be able to do it if you just hang in with me and if I can do it right. So I'm now on agenda item 21C, and this is a little bit different than your slide, but it's much more colorful than your slide. So what I have up on the screen is the same thing you have on the top of that page C, and this is the resource part of the budget. So let me tell you what the components are here. Going down the side is church contributions, donor support, fees and expense allocation, reserve transfers, communication sales, rental income for a subtotal of a budget. And then to that, we're going to add in the directed project expenses that I just talked to you about a minute ago to come up with total resources. Now, also, for you to take a look at, the rows are labeled alphabetically, A through H, and the columns are numeric. And so I'm pulling my piece of paper out here, too, at the same time I'm talking, which is quite a challenge for me. But anyway, column 1 is the actual numbers for 2013 in terms of revenue. Column 2, I would say if anybody does have a curvilinear, I'm from New England, curvilinear laser pointer that goes around the corner, if you could bring it up, that would help me in the presentation. But anyway, the second column is the 2014 budget for this year, and column 3 is the recommended budget on the revenue side for the year 2015 that we're going to be asking you to approve shortly. Now, on the right-hand side here is the same thing that you have on the bottom of your page C, and it includes where we're going to spend the money. And as I told you a couple minutes ago, it's based on our mission priorities, and they are going down from J to P, they are serve globally, start and strengthen churches, make and deepen disciples, love mercy, do justice, develop leaders, communications, and shared services. And the magic of this budget is that it balances. You'll see at the bottom of the revenue side, it's $24.7 million, and the bottom of the expense side is $24.7 million. I should remind this group, in case you're not aware, I'm retiring now. So this is the budget, but other people will be coming to talk to you next year about the good job they did in managing to this budget, but you need to approve it today. Okay? So let me get back to my text before I get totally confused. Now we need to take a look at the columns from 4 to 10. And what's important for you to note is on the expense side, column 7 is the proposed base budget for 2015. Column 9 are the directed project expenses. That was the number that we went through in the previous slide that added up to $7,640,000. And when you add those two together, you get column 10, which is the proposed budget of $24,714,000. For those of you who don't do mathematics in your head, we also have column 8, which is the change in the year-over-year base budget between column 7 and column 4. So that's the mechanics of all of this. We'd be glad to answer any questions on it. But let me just move on in the presentation and say that the expense budget for the coming year is up by only 1.9%. We feel that this is appropriate level. We managed to a balanced budget in 2013, and we believe that while it's challenging, it's necessary to move forward in mission and ministry and in compensation to have a 1.9% increase in this budget. And let me finally remind you, all three groups, that the Covenant Office Leadership Team, Finance Committee of the Executive Board, and Covenant Executive Board unanimously recommend the adoption of this budget by delegates to the 2014 Covenant Annual Meeting. And on this slide, you will see the motion that I am making in my presentation on behalf of these groups. And the motion is to recommend a 2015 mission and ministry budget in the amount of $24,714,000 for adoption by the 2014 Covenant Annual Meeting. Mr. Moderator, delegates and conferees, and others in attendance today, this completes the presentation of the proposed 2015 mission and ministry budget.